For his entire political career, Doug Ford has blamed cyclists for traffic in Toronto. He's probably just jealous that he can't find a big enough helmet to fit his head, but whatever. In recent weeks, Premier Ford's Conservatives in Ontario have put forward a plan to get rid of bike lanes on 3 major streets in Toronto: Bloor Street, University Avenue, and Yonge Street. These routes are used by thousands of people every day, and obviously they make it safer to ride in a big city with lots of vehicle traffic.
The entire street, whether it be Yonge Street, whether it be Bloor, whether it be University, can be removed, and we'll look forward to moving forward on that.
We asked cyclists on Bloor Street West what they thought about Ford's plan.
It feels like they're creating a solution to a problem of traffic, but it's not really that. Like, bike lanes didn't cause this issue.
I don't like it at all. I'm a biker, so I want as many bike lanes as possible. And it's super busy, so I don't really know where everyone else would bike if it wasn't there. So,
Do you remember when the bike lane wasn't on this street?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It's very dangerous. So.
They're obviously not going to remove it. They put too much money into the bike lane downtown. They're obviously not going to remove that.
Well, they're proposing all of Bloor, all of Yonge Street, all of University Avenue.
They just put up the fancy lights for the bicycles.
Yeah, they've spent quite a lot of money.
They must have spent millions of dollars, and they're going to remove them? That's ridiculous.
Michael Longfield is the executive director of Cycle Toronto, a citywide advocacy group.
This latest announcement is really kind of proof that anything that was being considered over the past couple of weeks isn't really real or based on data. There's no study in the world that shows adding bike lanes contributes to traffic. In fact, it's actually the opposite. But this latest announcement, before the bill's gone through, before the province has created any criteria for how these bikeways will be evaluated, have just flat out announced that Bloor, University, and Yonge will be removed, just shows this isn't real serious legislation. This is something performative, and it's going to put lives at risk.
6 cyclists have been killed on Toronto streets so far in 2024, making this the deadliest year for cyclists since the city began collecting such data in 2006. In July, an unnamed 24-year-old woman was struck and killed on Bloor Street, one of the roads Ford is targeting for bike lane removal. On that day, a garbage bin was placed in the Bloor Street bike lane without a permit by a company called Ontario Trucking and Disposal Limited. The woman was forced out of the bike lane into oncoming traffic, where she was fatally struck by the driver of a dump truck. The only consequence for the 2 companies responsible for the garbage bin illegally placed in the bike lane were bylaw charges, which can be settled by paying a handful of fines of a few $100s each. On the same day that the unnamed woman on Bloor Street was killed, another cyclist on Bloor was almost killed by a truck driver making an illegal right turn into the Bloor Street bike lane. Now, many people are pointing out that Doug Ford is probably planning to call an election next year, and that his attacks on cyclists are designed to rally his supporters and to distract from the reality that gridlock is caused by bad planning and too many cars, not by cyclists. In other words, Ford is just trolling cyclists to make his supporters happy. While this may be true, more people are going to die if Ford gets his way here. And even if he isn't really going to rip out the bike lanes, he's justifying the reckless attitudes that lead to drivers killing people with their vehicles. After that goofy bike ride he took in 2017, Ford remarked that, quote, "You're nervous when there's no bike lanes. At least I was. We have to do everything we can to make sure there's never a death in the city. One death is way too many when it comes to bicycle riders." Unquote. Ford has completely changed his tune now, but the lane removals are not a done deal just yet. You might have noticed that his transportation minister, Prabmeet Sarkaria, said the lanes can be removed, not that they absolutely will be.
Whether it be Yonge Street, whether it be Bloor, whether it be University, can be removed, and we'll look forward to moving forward on that.
That's because the province still hasn't actually done consultations on this issue yet. If that sounds ass backwards and confusing, that seems to be Ford's plan here. But never fear. By clicking the link in the description or going to the one on your screen, you can join over 15,000 people who have already signed a petition by Cycle Toronto to keep the bike lanes intact. And here's a link to the provincial consultation, where you can tell the Ford government how you feel about this plan. You've got another 2 weeks to submit your feedback. This video is dedicated to the 6 cyclists in Toronto who were struck and killed in 2024, and to everyone who cares about them. For Yes Everything, I'm Desmond Cole. Thanks for watching.